Okay, so I'm going to give Mage Knight a whirl today, since we're in lockdown here, as I'm sure many of you tuning in after this uploads will be aware. So cranked everything out of storage, got everything set up. It's a new PC, so this is a bit of a test of the settings as well. And apologies for the next 10 minutes, there'll be a bit of background noise because the end of the wash is still going, and that isn't far away from me. But as you probably saw from the title screen, Mage Knight, this is a game I love. I think it was 9.9 I've rated it, because to keep everything in order on Board Game Geek, everything has a unique rating, but take that, it's a 10 out of a 10 for me. I love this game. I think I've played it about 30 times that I've recorded, but for this I will be doing the first Reconnaissance scenario, which is basically a walkthrough, a how to play. There's a very good booklet with the game. Those of you familiar with the way that Czech Games or Vlada like to do it, there's a rule book as well as a game walkthrough. So following this, during this scenario, you get a pretty good guide as to how most of the game goes. The drawback with that, when you are later referencing a lot of the rules to double check maybe a little subtle nuance on there, it's not the easiest as a reference source, but there's a few good things on Board Game Geek which can help with that. But it certainly gets you into the game nice and easy, but maybe long term it's not the best type of way of doing it. But anyway, that's a discussion for another stream. With the first Reconnaissance, as I do with most of my playthroughs, I will talk through my thought process as to why I'm going to do things, rather than editing out and only taking what I decide to do into the stream. I'm gonna talk through. There might be a few pauses with that as I'm pondering it. A lot of the game is about choosing what you can do with the hand you're dealt. It's not necessarily a game where you can always have the perfect combination for each situation. But we jump straight in. If you've just got the game, you're looking for a stream. I know I watched a good few playthroughs before I felt confident enough to really jump into it myself. You know, have the game alongside. We can pause and go through as we reveal each tile. This deck of tiles is seeded for the first Reconnaissance, so you should reveal them in the same order that I do. We may not obviously draw the same cards, so you might go down a different path, but hopefully we'll encounter similar things if you want to go down that route with it. So let's set up these first two tiles. With Mage Knight, every tile has a specific orientation. There's a number in a circle, as there is on that starting one, and the circles and stars have to interlock together. So with these, this will always be here, and this one in there. So we have a complete circle, a complete star, and those circle pieces are tallied through as well. So we lay out then for these starting tiles. We have two rampaging orcs. So so that's from an expansion. Actually, these are both the same token. I do have all the expansions for this, I suppose, except for the 5 extra cards that were in the Ultimate Edition, because buying that whole box just for those 5 cards does not seem worth it. So if some of the cards in the offer here, some of the units, the skill tokens and things like that may be somewhat different. Obviously these tokens, I will actually avoid those enemies. They're from the Shades of Tesla expansion, just because adding in those tokens, it's a whole extra set of rules, which really, particularly in this first Reconnaissance, isn't what we want to do. We want to just keep it nice and simple so you can get a gist of how we're playing. So we've got those first 2 rampaging enemies. They go face up no matter where they are. You don't have to be adjacent to them during the day. We also have a couple of other bits here. So we have Crystal Mine and Magical Glade. So that glade healing is quite good because it's not only from your hand, it's also from your discard pile. We have villages where we can heal units with this symbol, which would be, in this case, the Utum crossbowmen. They have that matching symbol. They're the only one of our starting ones here that we could recruit from that location. Yeah, that's it. That's all we've got. And a couple of rampaging enemies. So, starting off, I've gone with Tovak. There's a subtle difference with each Mage Knight. There are 2 cards, because I have all the expansions that are unique to them. If you just have the base game, there is 1 out of your deck of 16 cards, which is unique to that particular Mage Knight. So a lot of it is going to be the same from one to the other. So I wouldn't worry too much about who you pick to start with. Most of the difference comes from your skill tokens. They add a good amount of flavour to each character, and the rest really is how you build your deck with these advanced skills, spells, or maybe even artifacts as the game progresses. I do have a dummy deck. I've chosen Goldix for this. It does say for the first Reconnaissance scenario you could skip a dummy deck, but I will do it just to keep the time pressure on, so we don't just dawdle. This is played over 2 day rounds and 2 night rounds if it's solo, just the 3 rounds day, night, day if you're playing with more players. Really all we should need to do is reveal the city tile, which will be in one of the 3 core tiles down here, not the countryside tiles that are stacked on top. But if we have some time left over, what I want to do is actually assault that city as well. It's not part of the scenario, but just something that I would like personally to do. One rule that is different for this scenario than the rest of the scenarios that you will play: we will gain 1 fame every time we reveal an additional tile through exploration, and it costs 2 movements to explore those tiles. So before we go and choose tactics, we should deal ourselves 5 cards, our starting hand, and decide what we want to do. Okay, we've got a lot of movement and a lot of influence. Okay, so with the tactics, let's get these in order. The lower the number, the earlier you will be going in turn order. With multiple players, that may make a big difference. If there's a nice enemy that you want to jump on early or get to a location to do a recruit action, that really makes a difference. With a dummy deck, you choose 1, shuffle, deal them 1, and it just dictates who goes first. So early bird, we would be going first. There's less time pressure, but obviously you can get nicer bonuses with some of these better actions. So great start, you're almost guaranteed to go last, but you'd immediately draw 2 extra cards. And that could be good for us in this case because we've got a lot of movement. We've got no attack or defense if we wanted to go for those stone throwers. But actually with the movement and influence, I'm quite happy to move to the village and do a recruit action. So I think we'll just take planning. Set this to the wrong side, there we go. Yeah, we'll just take planning and shuffle his deck up, and he will take the early bird. So that's not terrible. It does mean he's going to go first, but if we end our turn with at least 2 cards, we will draw 1 additional card. Okay, so Goldix first of all, 1, 2, 3, draws Rage. So each Mage has 3 little dots down here. This is only really used if it's the dummy player, and it's how many crystals you give them. If you draw a card as the 3rd card of that colour, you will draw additional cards matching the number of crystals. So in this case, a red card, they have no red crystals, we stop at 3. So our first turn, let's think, we can use 6 movement, 2, 4, 6 to get into that village, and then use our influence here to recruit the Utum crossbowmen. We could use this white mana die to get 4, 5, 6 influence, and that would actually be exactly sufficient move and recruit. So let's go with that. Excuse me, just going to mute you. Oh, quick mute while I cough. And we roll, so we get another red. So we don't get to take advantage of our planning because we've used all of our cards, but let's see what he does. Oh, I should actually move us. Let's play the game. There we go. 2, 4, 6 movement each. Grass terrain is 2 movement. So another 3 cards. Blue. So as we were just looking at, he has 1 blue crystal, so he draws 1 more card. Now that was quite a nice hand of cards actually. 2 blues and a green, so that's 1 less green that he could potentially draw to speed up his game. Our next 5 cards, we've got Cold Toughness, which is a unique card. 4 Tovak, Swiftness, Rage, Tranquility, and Mana Draw. Okay, so let's grab this token. If we want to take on the Stunning Throwers, we can draw them onto us since we're adjacent to them. They have an attack of 7, which given our current armor class of 2 would deal us 4 wounds, which we do not want to take, so we need to find some way of reducing and blocking that. There is no partial block, so although we have a block 3 here, that doesn't reduce the attack to 4 and so only give us 2 wounds. If you don't block it completely, you take the full wounds. So we want to avoid that. One way, this particular one is Cumbersome, and this is from the expansion. So Cumbersome means you can spend movement points to reduce their attack. So we could spend 7 movement to get rid of all of his attack and therefore take no wounds. Or actually we could reduce his attack by 4, so he's only going to attack 3, and then we could block it. In terms of killing him, he's fortified, so we cannot use ranged attack to kill him, so unfortunately our combination of 5 range won't be sufficient. And he's physically resistant, so any non-elemental damage is halved. So probably our best bet would be to use Cold Toughness. We're powered up to its strongest ability. This gives us an ice block of 5, plus 1 for each ability or colour of attack depicted on the enemy token. So we would get more than a block of 7 because of his abilities. He's fortified, resistant, and cumbersome, although that's actually a hindrance to him, it counts as an ability. So we'd get a block of 8 and completely mitigate this. We then just have to deal with his attack. And if we use 1 additional dice from the source, yeah, that works perfectly. So just its basic action, we can use 1 of these red dice to get an attack 4. We need 4, as I said, because he's physically resistant, so that attack is actually down to 2, which is enough to kill him. Because it's a rampaging enemy, we would gain 1 reputation, and we will gain 4 fame. With that in mind, as we level up, we will gain, in this case, 1 advanced action and a skill token. Our advanced actions, we've got Steady Tempo, Ambush, and Temple Portal. All of them are actually quite good for movement. Ambush gives a move and a bonus to attack or block, which is pretty good. I think that's what we're going to want to go with. Otherwise, Steady Tempo is a move card that you could then put to the bottom of your deed deck, as long as it's not empty, so you know you're going to get a second chance to use it again. And Temple Portal lets you jump around since what we want to do with this scenario is just explore, any of those cards are actually pretty good starting cards, but I like Ambush for the possibility we get that movement and then can really boost into our blocking, which is what Tovak's quite good at. So we'll take the Ambush and we draw 2 of our skill tokens as well. And there's another opportunity to block, and this can actually be fire or ice block as well, or discard a wound at any point except during combat and draw another card. But let's go for the block and try and avoid taking any wounds. Okay, so this advanced action goes onto the top of our deed deck, so we know we're going to draw that next. And discard this token, reroll these. We have a green and a gold. We've got our 2 cards left over, and we didn't need to move to his spot. For a lot of attacks that we do, you have to move onto the space, but rampaging enemies can be drawn onto you since they're basically roaming the countryside. What we could have done before we attacked him was use our move 2 to reveal another tile here, and there might have been something better that we could have provoked, or even provoked both at the same time to attack. But I wanted to keep 2 cards in our hands so that we can get the benefit of planning. So let's do Goldix's turn. He draws 1, 2, 3, and it's red, so we will only draw the 3, and then swing back round to us. We have Ambush that we've just drawn from the advanced action, and actually we should refresh that. Swiftness, Crystallize, and because of our tactic, Instinct, and that's our second unique card. Just a really nice versatile one, but an extra block as well, which is pretty good. Okay, so let's think. We're doing okay for time. We've only got 3 more cards left in our deed deck to draw, whereas the dummy player has 6. So we are doing okay. We don't need to play a lot of these cards and try and rush and attack the other stone thrower this turn. So I think we might take advantage of doing a explore action at this point whilst we've got a space we can put a tile, then move on to the forest with that magical glade. Although we don't need the healing, it does mean we start with a gold mana token for when we want to attack that next stone thrower, and hopefully then we can kill those without taking any, or at least not many, wounds. So in terms of the cards we've got then to do this, obviously we've got 2 swiftness, and these are generally very good cards which you may not want to use as movement because they've got ranged attacks on them. But because the 2 enemies we've come across first of all have been fortified, we haven't had the opportunity to use that range attack, which again with the crossbowman also having ranged attack would have been normally very good. So I think if we're not attacking this round, I prefer not to use my ambush move. So let's use a move 2 first of all and just explore a tile. What you can do with Mage Knight is undo your turn up until the point when the last bit of new information was revealed. So if we were, for instance, to use ambush for that move 2 to reveal a new tile, we couldn't then go, oh, let's power it up actually and get a move 4 because I've just seen something that I need to move on to. It's basically a quick save. Anytime you reveal any new information, anything's shown for the first time, that's locked in place. For example, the previous turn when we've been fighting that stone thrower, if we thought with the cards we had we could defeat it, and actually when we start playing them out we realise no, we're an attack short, we'd never kill it, we're only just taking lots of wounds and then retreating anyway, you can just unwind. If it had been a face down token, and we'll see a few of those soon, you'd be stuck in that fight. It's a risk you have to mitigate in some other way. So in this case, let's do the movement first, reveal it, and see if we want to commit to any of our other cards. Since this move can't be really powered up to a better ability, I could use Instinct as the move 2 and save the ranged attack, but we have this other one anyway, and we can only take 1 die from the source. So if we do need that ranged attack, you know, we've still got the option. So we do this move first. And no surprise in this scenario, it's tile 3 because these are situated in order. But this will place in here. And we have another village and a crystal mine, this time a white crystal mine, and a keep. So keeps are new for the keep. When revealed, a grey enemy token gets placed face down. So we do not know what this token is going to be. If we are next to it during the day, or adjacent to it, you can reveal it, but at night you've got no way of knowing who's inside that keep defending it. Nice little thematic reasoning as to why you can't see what's inside there at night. There's a few bonuses if we were to conquer that site, but anytime you're attacking a fortified site, you lose a reputation. People in this land don't like you attacking and killing the people that are here fortifying and defending them. You kill a rampaging enemy, they're all for it, they're just, you know, pillaging the countryside, but attacking keeps, they're not big fans of. So that's move 2, that's our swiftness played. Select these cards, but there's nothing there that we immediately want to pounce on. So let's move on to the forest, and a forest is 3 movement during the day. So if we're going to attack that stone thrower, again, this range attack doesn't do us any benefits. This block is likely to be very useful, especially since block 4 plus our skill token is enough to block his attack, and we have a red mana die in the source to power that up. So we use this as a move 2. We only need 1 more movement, so we could play a card sideways. We know we want to play ambush during that attack, so let's go for tranquility. You can always discard a card sideways as 1 attack, influence, block, or move. So in this case, a move. It's not optimally played, but it gets us what we want. So that move 3, we can place ourselves here in the forest on sorry, my mind's gone. What do they call those? The magical glade. So we don't need the healing at the end of the round, but it will start our turn with a crystal. And what we'll do, we've got 3 cards still remaining in our hand. We haven't used a die from the source, so let's use crystallize. If we can gain a crystal of any colour to our inventory, and I think we use the green crystal. We're going to pay 1 mana, so green mana to gain a green crystal. So this then goes into our bag here, and you can only have 3 crystals of each colour. You can't have gold and black mana as crystals. They're too unstable, too powerful to be crystallized. But with that, we've used 4 of our cards. 1 die. We still have 2 in our hand, so we will draw back up to 6, and we're going to start our next turn with a gold mana. So that's pretty good. We've got a white. The dummy player, Goldix now, will draw 3 cards. Again, it's red, so he won't draw any additional cards. He's got 3 left, so we know we're going to get 2 more turns from him. We've got Instinct, Ambush, Concentration, Rage, and Stamina, which are actually our last cards, so we didn't need the benefit of planning for that. Okay, so let's think. We want to move on to his location this time. We haven't used our crossbowman, So we could use them for block, and also the block 3 that we get would mean we only need 1 more block. Or we could just get a lot of movement. Yeah, we've got 6 movement. If we were to generate 4 move, then we've got enough to kill him, to block him even. So let's play ambush with the gold mana. Let's think this through. Gold mana, 3 movement to move on to the forest. We've got 1 spare. Let's grab his token if we were to do this. So 3 movement. We have 1 movement remaining, so that drops his attack to 6. We could then use the Utum crossbowmen, activate them for their block 3, and also this skill token. So that's effectively block 6 to stop his attack. We can then attack him, and we get +2 to the first attack card of any type. So we only need a basic attack 2 to get attack 4 to kill him. And we can keep 3 cards in our hand which have movement abilities to explore, which is what we need to do for this scenario. It does mean our crossbowmen are used, and we can't obviously then do them later, but I'm not sure we're going to do another attack with only these cards in our hand anyway, unless there's a very weak enemy just across the void here that we haven't explored yet. So that seems very good. That's a nice way of killing him. It does mean using the gold mana from the source, but we've got the opportunity to get, we've got red in the source, we can get a blue mana token using concentration if we don't get lucky and roll a green or gold with this die. So another rampaging enemy, we get another bonus 12 reputation. We didn't gain our fame for exploring a tile. We've got 4 from the last catapult we killed. We should have 1 more, and then 4 more fame from this one. So we will now level up again, and this time we flip over a new token. So these tokens dictate our armor class and hand limit, and when flipped are the amount of units we can recruit. So we've now got an armor of 3 and a hand limit of 5, and space for another recruit. We roll the source, and it's blue. Discard these. Dummy player. It's a blue card, but his hand's empty anyway, so we can't draw any more. And we have these cards. We have 2 more turns, because he will declare end of round on his next turn, and we get 1 more turn. So we could use the blue mana die as a move 4, hoping on our next round we get a green mana to use the stronger ability here. Or if we find something weak to fight, we can use concentration to get a red mana to power this for that. So getting a move 4, that seems like a good choice. We've got tile 4 with a mage tower. So this will sit here. We have a mountain terrain which is impassable. 1 more rampaging enemy. And the mage tower. And the mage tower again is face down. We find the appropriate reference card. So again, it's a fortified site, so you'd lose reputation if you attack it, and it's defended by a purple token. Again, if you go adjacent, you reveal it, but at night, it's a gamble. But if you do take it on, you will get a spell, and you can purchase spells for influence plus mana from the spell offer. So pretty good if you did take them out. We have spent then, get our fame as well while I remember. We've spent that 2 movement. We could move next to this other rampaging enemy. He has 2 single attacks. So very weak attacks, but there's 2, which unfortunately means although we have defense of 3 here, we can only assign that to 1 attack. You can't combine those attacks and go 1 plus 1 is 2, I have 3 defense, it's fine. You have to separate it. So if we wanted to kill them, we could obviously block one of those attacks, but then if we want to use this red mana from concentration to kill them, which we definitely can do, we will take 1 wound. Not the worst thing, but these guys are only worth 2 fame, so that's not the best. Ooh, focus has gone on that. So I think perhaps instead I might be tempted to use my other 2 move to come onto the village and then get a red mana token in order to get another 4 move and just move here, so I'm adjacent to the keep. Yes, we won't do it this round though. Reason being, as I said, the dummy player has to declare end of round on his next turn. We will get 1 more round. Potentially with the re-roll of this dice we might get a green or gold, and if we do, we'd not only have the 4 movement required to get adjacent to the keep, we'd have 2 movements spare to explore here as well and save us from having to do it in the next round. So we'll use our last 2 remaining movement to come here. Because we're adjacent, we can see what's in there, and it's ice mages. So fortunately we do have fire block to help mitigate that, but elemental attacks are very hard to deal with, so yeah, I don't feel like we want to hang around and take him on unless we were to get a very good hand on our next round, but let's just keep moving. Dummy player will call end of round. Let's re-roll this, and it's white, so unfortunately we won't be able to explore unless we use the crystal from our bag, and I don't think that's worth it. So we'll get the red mana token, and a token is very different to a crystal. A token, if you don't use it, disappears at the end of the round. We use that token to get a move of 4, and we'll move to 4 adjacent to the keep so we can reveal the enemy that is here before night. And that's probably very good that we did reveal it, because it gives us much better planning to deal with these guys. These are heroes, so not only would we lose 1 reputation for attacking the keep because it's a fortified site, but this token has a minus reputation on it as well. They are worth 5 fame, which is enough for another level up. They've got 2 attacks. 1 is only 2, which is perfect for us to block with our 2 ice block, and then 4 attacks. So it will require a little bit of effort to kill them, but I'm very glad that we revealed what it was beforehand, because that's probably one of the harder ones. We may have gone in a little bit underbaked otherwise had we not seen what was there. So a little bit of then admin setting up for the next round. What you do is reset the unit offer, so anything that wasn't recruited disappears. We get 1, 2, 3 new units. With a dummy player, the spell that was dropping off the end of the offer doesn't go into his deck, but you look at the colour. So in this case it's a green spell, and you add 1 extra green crystal to his mat. So now Goldix has 3 green crystals and 1 blue crystal. We will then add the last advanced action, the one that's going to disappear, into his deck. So unfortunately we're adding a blue card to his deck, and he does have a blue crystal, but could have been worse. It could have been a green card. He's slide down, so this would be the next card to add to his deck, and he would get a blue crystal if this spell doesn't disappear. And refill. Crushing Bolt, that's quite nice. Siege attack at the bottom. This board then flips, and there's one subtle difference. The numbers for the forests and the deserts will invert. Nice thematic reason: a forest at night is much harder to travel through. It's dark and creepy and eerie. A desert at night, it's much easier. You don't have the searing desert sun beaming down onto you, scorching the earth. It's a much cooler temperature. And then the source gets re-rolled. So it's all basic, which is fine. If more than half the source was gold or black mana, you would have to re-roll. But in this case, it's all basic. That is fine. And that is the end of the first day. So pretty successful. We've revealed 2 new tiles. We have defeated 2 rampaging enemies, revealed 2 new fortified locations that we could go for. We're opportunely placed to attack this keep or reveal a new tile, depending on what we get. We have a unit which is refreshed and ready to go once more. And I will end this recording here, check a few of the settings, and hopefully see you soon for the second round, the first night.